Engage Now Africa and UNESCO Afia no come ebomu celebrating International Literacy Day. Afia way team that's so transforming literacy and learning spaces. Nina and it's a study and say education is the key no ye ebimu sempo wan ko school a woni ani da so de obedi kra wonya empo ye bu animtia ani ade. Dwumade we dwumade sonko omode aba empo anisuade ye bia won ho anase bibiara a wo pese wo ye nanso woni boafo say ye bead making empo leather works any empo soap making any ade tie and dye any ade na wo pese wo ye a wonyo obi obeso wase a wo mo so omode aba baby bia wo bia no wo mo abetoto ne ma na ba no wo ba wo ba na wo so ba ba besua de ha ni santi dwumade ba ya enne wo mo di si wo afia bia no wo mo celebrate wo kwan sonko so with UNESCO no na ade a na wo se yetimi eba na ye be hwese de dwumade no ebe koni santi Royal Television yaba yenkwe na yenkwohwe sane dwumade no ahemfo mpanifo titu ebe gresi na aye anunyam hyeprɛ kopɛ na ya biama ene medin yenkwo ne yenkwohwe dwumade no sɛde ebesifa akɔ.
I am super excited to welcome you to this year's celebration of International Literacy Day. I am grateful to you for coming to support a cause that's changed the dynamics of our country's development. Let me take a moment to acknowledge you for shielding equally important shadows to lend your support to outdoor literacy in Ghana. The celebration always brings into sharp focus the issue of literacy, the issue of adult and youth literacy in our families, our communities, and our countries. Every year, we gather to celebrate the achievement chalked in literacy as we link up with the rest of the world. It is never lost on us to raise the red flags on the challenges in our attempt to impact the lives of our vulnerable, disadvantaged, and marginalized citizens. The issue of literacy remains a red-hot button switch that always needs special attention because the development of every nation hangs on education. Our gathering today demonstrates our passion for seeing the individual, institutions, and our nation develop through literacy. Adult and youth education is expensive, yet we cannot ignore it. Learners do not have any financial commitment since every aspect of this program is free. On the contrary, if the cost should sway us, ignorance will bring us the bill for its damaging and destructive nature. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, this year's theme, Transforming Literacy Learning Spaces, is pushing the frontiers of the places where learning can happen. COVID-19 duly tested the resilience of the world's literacy learning infrastructures, and Ghana was no exception. The world scrambled to switch to digital literacy, which invariably discontinued learning in some parts of the world. The areas include places where there are internet, electricity, and computers. It gave a clear indication that we were going to lose the knowledge gain over the years. Flip to the other side, and Engage Now Africa was able to hold learning digitally. It ensured we kept learning without interruption, as if this did not come with a cost. Learning should be allowed in homes, family levels, workplaces, and every conducive place of learning. Inversely, restricting literacy learning activities to specified areas without room for dynamism will shut out many learners. Ladies and gentlemen, Development runs on the heels of literate citizens. The multiplying effect of literacy on the individual, the nation, and the world is incalculable. The value addition that education bears on nations' development cannot be underemphasized. Therefore, any action that tries to take or destroy literacy should be dealt with holistically to keep the wheels of learning running without a halt. Literacy is a liberating tool that can transform individuals, families, and nations. The transformative abilities of literacy are enormous as their benefits. Over the years, I have witnessed how lives have changed and destinies restored through the instrumentality of literacy by Engage Now Africa. The evidence I present to you is not lone historical facts, but situations with which I have interacted and engaged in. Engage Now Africa has complemented literacy with vocational skills. We stand to equip the learner to empower them completely to take charge of their destiny. Hence, over the years, we have invested heavily in vocational skills in the areas of sewing, shoemaking, hand sanitizers, liquid soap, disinfectant, glass cleaner, talcum powder, shower gel, batik tie and dye, beads making, food baking, washing powder, hair products, bleach production, and many more. And right after, you can see behind you, we have demonstrated most of the things. And just so you know, these things over there are not done by any other person, but by the students that are on the program, which is the outdoor literacy and the vocational skills. All this training comes at no cost to the learner. We are faithfully bent to transform lives through this medium. Ladies and gentlemen, the Vocational Skills Program will be officially launched today. It has empowered many of our learners over the years. It is interesting to know that these learners are given startup materials and equipment to establish businesses after the training. The cascading effect on the family and the nation cannot be underemphasized. Please permit me to inform you, distinguished guests, that after the presentation, we will go right behind you to see some of the products these learners have produced. Therefore, let me seize this opportunity to request the government to support vocational skills, NGOs in vocational skills, with start-up capital to ensure that learners, after receiving the training, will establish businesses to ease the pressure of unemployment on the government. We are your partners in the private sector. Engage Now Africa is your partner in the private sector. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Frederick Douglass observed, and I quote, "Once you learn to read, you will be free forever," unquote. We are working hard to bring literacy to the doorsteps of every vulnerable citizen of this country. Not only literacy will empower the weak, but skills as well. We firmly believe that the beneficiaries of these skills development programs will gain socio-economic empowerment and liberation from poverty.
I am humbled to be part of you this morning. In fact, it's a pleasant day, and a day like this should be adored as we all are here to enjoy the Literacy Day as the World's Literacy Day. I'm also grateful also to the organizers of this wonderful program. Actually, looking at the vision you've had and the time spent and being able to organize all of us here, we're really grateful unto you. And I want to say once again that literacy demands you improving yourself every day, strengthening yourself in the mind, the body, and your will, vision that you have, making sure that every step that you take with patience, you can climb upstairs up to the place you want to be. So I really appreciate this day, and I'm reliably informed that today's celebration marks the 56th celebration with the theme, transforming literacy learning spaces. So we're here to learn, and we have to learn from each other. We want to learn the best practices that will enhance our country Ghana, our beloved country, our one and only country that we all need to depend upon. We need to lift this country on high. We want people to know that we are brilliant ones and we are Ghanaians. We are proud to say, I am a Ghanaian. And that is the main reason why we're here, to enhance the next generation, the generations to come as well, to know that they're not just here as Ghanaians, but they are here as proud Ghanaians who will surely build up this nation to foresee a future nation that is more above the ladder on which we are climbing. It's my prayer that the Lord on high, who knows our heart's desire, who knows what we want for our nation, will grant us the peace and mercy to build up this journey and to make it the brilliant one that we want to have. I'm also grateful to the words and visions that you had and to bring us together. I take this opportunity to inform you that by God's grace, when I ascended onto the throne, I have had the opportunity. We have won the Accra World Book Capital for 2023, and we will be starting the celebration very soon. We're asking every one of you here to partner with us. We are into book reading. We want to improve upon ourselves and be proud of the African countries that we have. I once again want to say, I invite you all to join me and to join Ghana to make Ghana proud once again. Thank you so much, and I accept the question.
I think COVID-19 has exposed us big time. And the way we define literacy, we were all stuck with the traditional definition of literacy by being able to read and write through school or through school activities. COVID-19 came, and those who were able to read and write were left home. Those with the arts were painting for us and were buying at high cost. This has exposed that our definition is so simple but very ineffective. And then, of course, the significance of today is for us to explore how we'll be able to shift the definition that we have stuck in our brain for far too long. People are deemed illiterate once they are not able to read or write in English. And we have not taken time to consider the multiple nature of literacy and what is needed today. So my question today is, how do we disrupt the dominant practices of literacy? And that is what I started with, by changing the definition. Today, UNESCO is telling us that in the aftermath of the COVID-19, about 24 million learners may never get back to the classroom. And out of these learners, 11 million of them will be made of women and girls. And what it means is that if learning is not going to take place only in the formal setting, then we have to make the other settings comfortable enough to accommodate all types of learners. Literacy today is no longer how to be able to read and write, but how to understand information, whichever way and however it is presented. What are the trends now? People are willing to work, learn and study wherever and whenever they want. And people are also willing to use their own technologies to learn. And there is a shift across sectors to online learning, hybrid and collaborative learning. If this is the trend, then we must begin to invest in learning spaces that are physical, blended, and virtual in each nature. By physical, the spaces must be comfortable enough, must have lighting and fresh air, and must be able to allow for different sitting positions. In some cases, they even allow people to come and learn even without shoes. If that is what makes them feel comfortable, that's how they live in their home. So it's okay if they come in and even they are not wearing shoes and they'll be able to learn. Very comfortable enough to accommodate all kinds of learners. And then there is a stress on the physical space that promotes community involvement. And by community involvement, we are talking of building communities around passions, interests, and all of that. A community that promotes connectedness. A community that makes everyone feel valued to share ideas. And that is one of the stresses for physical spaces. With a blended data, there is enough data indicating that learning does not only take place in the classroom, and pedagogy must be focused on team activities and collaborative learning. With the virtual, we are talking about the Skypes, instant messaging, SMS services, all of that. So maybe the question we should be asking Engage Now Africa is how they are able to blend all of this for their teaching and learning. And then, of course, I want to get back again to the physical learning space. I want to encourage the kind of learning space that promotes creativity. And it is out of creativity that we are able to innovate. And with the innovation, we get entrepreneurs. And entrepreneurship is a need for today. Thank you very much.
I would like to apologize on behalf of His Royal Majesty King Tagita Gochulu, who is the President of the Ghana Traditional Council, who would like to be here, but has got another important occasion to attend. Hence, send me Nia Henelunu III, Abula Manche, to read on this on his behalf. As we observe International Literacy Day, let us inspire ourselves with the popular saying, today is a reader, tomorrow is a leader. This day, 8th September, reminds us of the importance of literacy and individuals and communities. That reminder goes with a need for intensified literacy campaigns in our societies. On the auspicious occasion, I reaffirm my commitment to education and job creation for the people of the Dangwe to help fulfill the national objective of free basic education for every child of school-going age. To that effect, we have instituted the Ghana Manche Foundation with special focus on Ghana girl child education, ICT, and skills development. This is the surest way to keep abreast of global trends and rid all our communities of social vices. Literacy is a challenge we must accept as individuals, businesses, and politicians. to sacrifice that we have today for a better educated society to come after us. As a paramount king, I joined the international community to celebrate this day, which marks the 56th anniversary of the World Congress of Ministers of Education and Eradication of Illiteracy, which recommended the celebration of this day. Having come this far, we have seen the justification for us to continue with more zeal and fix our eyes on goal and universal literacy. The theme for the year global celebration is Transforming Literacy Learning Spaces. It calls for governments and partners to build resilient learning spaces to withstand any challenges as happened during the COVID-19 outbreak. On behalf of the Ghana Traditional Council and the Gandangbe communities, I wish to appreciate the Adult Literacy and Vocational Skills NGO Engage Now Africa, which is helping to celebrate the day in collaboration with the UNESCO. The NGO offers people a second chance in life through literacy, vocational training, and skills development. Startup capital and materials are given to the graduates to enable them to start their own businesses, thereby preventing unemployment. During the celebration, the vocational skills program will be launched by the Commissioner of Technical Education and Training, TVET. Happy anniversary to all. Long live the Ghana state. Long live Ghana and make our nation great and strong. Thank you.
Engage Now Africa is doing exactly the same thing that I said. They are helping people by holding them, lifting them up, and taking them forward. That's why we are also saying, Somiha, let's Somiha, because we have left a lot of people behind. There are a whole lot of people who are behind us, and Engage Africa now is bringing them along. They are holding their hands and they are lifting them from the ground. I think this is a right cause that we should all support. Engage Now Africa is doing marvelously well. They are helping our communities, and it's something that we should not take for granted. Because if these people don't have skills, the mess that they may cause will be too much to bear. So we should all help Engage Now Africa to do more than they are doing. God bless us all. Thank you.
I read to you the message from the Director General of UNESCO on the occasion of the International Literacy Day. As is customary, we have to read that message everywhere in the world where Literacy Day is being observed. This message is read. So since this is one of the functions that is acknowledged worldwide, there is a need for the reading of this message. So let us all be attentive as we listen to the message of the Director General of UNESCO. And it goes this way. International Literacy Day is an opportunity to assess progress and spur momentum towards celebrating literacy as an essential human right that plays a fundamental role within our society. Indeed, to quote the Brazilian intellectual and educator Paulo Freire, who dedicated much of his life to adult education, literacy should be the practice of freedom, the means by which men and women deal critically and creatively with reality and discover how to participate in the transformation of our world. Looking at this quote, it really fits into what Engage Now is doing. We are talking about literacy. We are talking about giving literacy as well as creativity. Together, we have achieved much in this field. In 1979, only 68% of the world's population knew how to read and write. In 2020, this figure had risen to 86.7%. Despite this progress, 771 million youth and adults around the world still do not possess basic literacy skills, and 60% of those are girls and women. And I believe that when we look at our national statistics, what was churned out by the Statistical Service during the last census, you could see that we also have a chance. We have contributed significantly to the 771 million number. COVID-19 and its issues, school closures, and disruptions caused by the pandemic have likely driven learning losses and dropouts. This is especially true for vulnerable populations. In response to this urgent situation, UNESCO and its member states are redoubling their efforts to ensure that progress made in recent decades is not reversed but reinforced. I believe government has done so much in this area. Now our agency responsible for literacy is now fully mandated to look at complementary basic education, where those who fell out of school will be brought back to the mainstream. You know, we all heard about COVID-19 and its attended challenges. Many girls got pregnant, they were not able to come back to school. It is not a problem of Ghana, it cuts across the world. And now we have a complementary education agency that is tasked to make sure that all those people get the right education and mainstream back. Now, on a crucial topic of adult education, UNESCO member states have renewed their commitment to literacy this year through the adoption of the Marrakesh Framework for Action, which recognizes adult learning and education as a core driver for all the SDG goals. Moreover, in June, UNESCO hosted a pre-summit to pave the way for the Transforming Education Summit convened by the United Nations Secretary General this September in New York. The pre-summit brought together more than 150 education ministers to reaffirm that tomorrow's education must be inclusive and focused on the most vulnerable. That is, giving them not only basic education, but also to navigate the contemporary world. The summit reaffirmed the importance of a new form of literacy, that is digital literacy, as an essential tool for lifelong learning. To achieve these objectives, ladies and gentlemen, UNESCO member states emphasize the need for more investment in education and increased international aid, along with more open, free, and high-quality educational resources. Through this celebration, ladies and gentlemen, UNESCO calls on all actors in the field of education and beyond to rethink the role of literacy. Thank you very much.
United Way Ghana, being a member of the United Way Worldwide Network, has education and economic empowerment as two of our focus areas to drive improvements in the quality of life of underserved communities. Knowing very well the importance of partnerships and strategic collaboration in line with SDG 17, that's partnership towards the goals. United Way Ghana has since 2019 found a credible and worthy partner in Engage Now Africa to deliver adult literacy and economic empowerment interventions in over 8 communities within 4 regions in Ghana. Particularly, during the peak of the COVID-19 pandemic, when communities were in dire need of support, individuals had lost their jobs and livelihoods. United Way Ghana partnered ENA to help facilitate skills training in adult literacy for identified individuals in severely disadvantaged communities. I'm happy to commend ENA for its professionalism and passion in the delivery of these projects, bringing about life-changing opportunities for over 300 individuals. Today, as we join Engage Now Africa in the celebration of International Literacy Day, United Way Ghana will continue in our resolve to removing the obstacles hampering access to quality basic education. Thank you very much.
What Engage Now Africa is doing is exactly the vision of Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, the president of Ghana. In the history of Ghana, it has never happened before that under one administration, there will be a huge focus on vocational and technical training to be able to equip people with the competencies and skills that will usher them into jobs and be able to create jobs for themselves. You know, as we sit here, everything about us is about vocational and technical. If you look at the 4 corners of this building, it was built by technical people. If you look at Nananom, the kente and the clothes, the beads and papua they are wearing, everything was done by the vocational people and the technical people. The electricity that we use at home was actually manufactured or produced. The power was produced by engineers who work at the power plant, transmit the power to our home, step it down and distribute it to our home. The water that we use at home are people who are technical people. They treat the water and then get the water to our home. Everything. Even in a difficult moment, in the pandemic time when everyone was asked to stay home, the people who were asked to go to work every day were the engineers. Because whilst you stay in your home, you need to be able to connect to the data center at your workplace and connect to the world. The people who will make sure that the data center is working, the internet is also working, are the people we're talking about. So what this lady and her team are doing is exactly what we need in the country. You know, vocational and technical education in Ghana has suffered negative perception for too long. And it has taken this government to change the narrative. In the past 4 years, 5 years now, we have had over 8 billion cedis invested directly into propping up technical and vocational education in the country.